Hey everybody, welcome to Surprise Radio. I'm your host Surprise, and with me today I have House Lights. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So, do you mind introducing yourselves?
Yeah, sure. I'm Sam. I do vocals.
I'm Matt. I play guitar.
I'm Josh. I play guitar as well.
And I'm Ethan. I play bass.
Again, nice to meet you, and thank you all for joining me. And now, how long have you been together now? I kind of know the answer to this, but just tell my viewers how long you've been together.
Matt, you
Yeah.
want to go ahead?
Sam and I, I've been playing music for quite a while, almost like 20 years. But this most recent project, I say we started up about a year or two ago. Just started with an album. We kind of did things a little bit backwards. We started with the full length album, and then we're starting to do some singles, and then we're going to be playing some shows. So, yeah, but really, Sam and I, and some of these songs are go back like 10 to 20 years ago.
And so I know that you have music from your 2014 album on Spotify as well, so that still falls under this umbrella.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
sorry.
go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Matt and Bobby, who's also on that album, he did the screams on our current album, What It Means to Feel. We were in a previous band called Horns Become Halos, and we had kind of broken up around the end of 2011, 2012. And that was Matt and I and Bobby's first project back together. Felt like we needed a little bit of a name change, a little bit of a reboot. And we definitely found a bit more of a good direction that we wanted to go on moving forward. And we've kind of kept that similar style. But we've been able to keep a lot of our older tracks that we had around that time that we never really released in our previous band. So that's helped us a ton.
And so, do y'all still play everything live, or do you just play the new stuff?
Yeah, we've been practicing playing the new material. Two of the songs we have are re-recorded from our old previous project, Horns Become Halos, that Sam mentioned. But besides that, it's all new material, and we haven't played any of the stuff from that Stages EP. Maybe we'll eventually one day.
I definitely want to. Some of those songs are really strong. But we actually haven't even played a live show as House Lights. So we have our first one coming up on April 5th in Dover, New Hampshire.
April 5th. That sounds like a pretty important date. There's something else happening that day, isn't there?
That's our song release for our next single. Yep. Snake Eyes will be coming out that same day. So
All right. So
really,
y'all are playing a show to get everybody pumped for the new single, the new show, the new era of House Lights. That's awesome.
that's the idea.
Yeah, and we'll be playing the song live too, debuting it.
So tell me about some of your influences and heroes, musically or non.
Matt, you guys start off, go around the room.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was a huge fan of new metal, so Linkin Park is really the band that got me into like heavy music. It was like the first band I listened to was screaming in it. I was like, oh my God, you can do that. You can scream on the radio. I listen to like the classics like Metallica, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, but for the newer stuff, Linkin Park, kind of like that new metal, like emo era. I love Taking Back Sunday, Brand New, Funeral for a Friend, Thursday, the band. That's where we got our name from. So those are some of my influences. How about you, Ethan?
Oh,
By the
yeah.
way, you're not the first person to mention Thursday.
Yeah. Really cool. Yeah, for me it was like going back to like God, middle school. I like had my first like real musical experience was like Metallica. And I like went on this like crazy like probably 2 years where that was like the only thing I listened to. So like that's what got me starting to play music. Like my stepdad bought me a guitar and all that. So I was like learning all of those songs and all that. And from there I started getting into like it was probably like Avenged Sevenfold was another really big one for me to kind of get me into like the heavier side of stuff. And from there kind of just branched out to all the MySpace era kind of, Devil Wears Prada and all of those guys. So yeah, yeah, there you go. So like that was kind of the stuff I did a lot of. For me, it's also a lot of like pop and hip hop and all that kind of stuff that really was more of the recent years. And yeah, man, that's kind of my origins, I guess.
And you say you play bass, so is Cliff Burton a big influence on your playing?
To a certain extent, I mean, I'd like to think so, but I can definitely say my talents are nowhere near that. No,
You are.
he's incredible though, for sure, no doubt.
I'd say like Joe Namath, Goldberg, Jacques Cousteau. No, I'm just kidding. Those three, literally the three most random people I could think of. No, I mean like I grew up on like country and classic rock and stuff. I mean like Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, early 2000s country and stuff. But in terms of like heavy, I'd say Avenged Sevenfold was one. Maybe like Balance Composure. I'm surprisingly not like prepared as I want to be on that. I always ask everybody like, oh, what's your favorite band? Like, what gets your rocks off? And I can never like give the answer as much as like I hope everybody gives me the answer. But I'll just shout them out throughout the interview, just randomly without a cue. So
I like that. I like that.
What about you, Sam?
Yeah, so for me, definitely started out sort of that, uh, as Matt said, Linkin Park was a big one. Coheed and Cambria, Alexisonfire, brand new. Those are three of the huge ones that really influence our sound quite a lot. We sort of model a lot of different harmonies and playing styles and stuff after a lot of those early bands. I like to tell people that we're a fresh take on something that might have heard before, but it's going to be a mix of all of those different influences and like blended. So you're like, oh, that kind of sounds like this one thing, but it's different. It's a unique perspective on familiar music. So yeah, those are three of my biggest. Definitely have been trying to branch out more into listening, challenging myself. Big thing I did when I was younger was like a lot of gatekeeping on myself. Like I said, oh, this artist isn't cool. I can't listen to them. But now that I'm old enough, I'm past all that. I really try to challenge myself to listen to new things. So definitely getting more into like pop and like kind of like old school. I really like seeing, especially local performers, do like really old school, like late 80s, early 90s, like classic hip hop stuff. That's really cool. Just saw a guy a couple weeks ago doing stuff like that at a local show. So our influences are all over the place. But I think that only makes us stronger, makes us better musicians.
So I know that you said that you are about to play your first show, excuse me, your first show as House Lights, but you've done some touring and things like that before. Do you have a favorite venue that you've played at or anything like that?
Not one that still exists. So yeah, Matt's been in a few other projects when we were both younger. House Lights, I would say we never did any touring, but we definitely played a handful of shows around the area. We played once or twice this place called Rocco's. That was kind of like the ground zero for everything like hardcore back in the scene of the day. Place was a dive. It was pretty sketchy, but everybody was there, moshing, wailing on each other. That's kind of where you had to be. My other earlier project, one of the coolest places we got to play was this place called the Ioka. It was an old theater in Exeter, New Hampshire that's no longer in existence, but it was like a beautiful amphitheater, setup. So we sounded pretty darn good there. Those are my favorite places so far.
Yeah, I remember this. We played like this Woodstock '99 like reunion thing. It was in Maine. I don't know if you remember that, Sam.
Yeah, yeah.
Become Halos. It was such a weird show. We played it like I don't know 2 p.m. So it was bright daylight out, which was weird. We had never done that before, and the stage was humongous, the biggest stage I've ever been on. We could run around in circles. And we had like I don't know 5 people watching us because it was like an outdoor festival and no one knew us. But that was still one of the coolest shows I think we've played.
What about you guys? I'm sure that y'all have played some pretty cool venues, hey?
So for me, honestly, like as the newest addition of this band, not a whole lot of like actual venues. For me, it's mostly limited to like house shows and that kind of stuff. One of which buddy of mine has used to live at his parents' house out in Litchfield and used to do a bunch of like bonfires. Once upon a time, we actually took a bunch of like wooden pallets, built a stage, played a show, and then burnt the stage. I have pictures from that. It's like one of the more fun nights I've ever had in my life. That was a really cool experience. But beyond that, yeah, I mean, just like garages, basements, that kind of stuff was mostly where me and all my buddies used to do it back in the day.
But they don't really burn stages very often, so you got to experience something a lot of bands never will get to. So there you go.
I mean, I'd say April 5th, there will be a stage on fire. Not too sure, but like, I'm glad I had the date right. No, like pretty much New England stuff. Rocco's was huge. Seen my first like, heavy bands there. Played there once. Like to answer the question, like I was into like deathcore and stuff a lot, like Chelsea Grin, Whitechapel, Suicide Silence. So like a lot of those bands would come through there. Anchors up in Haverhill, Elks Lodges and stuff, Loyal Order of the Moose in Portsmouth, Sad Cafe. I think I think me and Sam were at a couple shows together with each other and like didn't know each other. I wouldn't be surprised if I was in the same room as these guys, but they were good. No longer around. Sonya, the Middle East, a bunch of Harper's Ferry, Manga, like on and on. But yeah, pretty much Rocco's and World's End, which is a basement here in Manchester that Matt works with. A couple of people that run that, which is really cool. But it's good up here in Manchester. New England's always found a way to like have shows be booked, whether it's like Sons of Italy clubs, Elks Lodges, VFWs and stuff, the classic stuff. But I'm excited to just play wherever we're playing. So
tell me, guys, what do you tell people when you're explaining the band or hyping yourselves up or telling people what you do, what they're about to experience on April 5th for the single release and the live show?
Yeah, I mean, when I tell people with the band, it's really, I say we're kind of a combination of like all those bands you heard when we went to Warped Tour. Basically it's like that's like kind of my bread and butter is kind of those, trying to emulate those sounds that I heard back then, take all those different styles, put them together and mash them up into something, hopefully beautiful, aggressive, and it makes people feel something.
The way that Matt writes, it's such a unique style where, again, the music is familiar, but it's unique. Like for me, I mean, obviously I've been working with him a long time. I can pick out the music and go, oh yeah, like this is totally something Matt wrote. I'm very familiar with his music, and it helps us have like a really good working relationship. And because of those influences in there and our shared like musical influences, I can like very, very quickly catch on to like, oh, this melody fits this part, or this screaming style here that, sort of reminds you of these other, bands. This is what's going to fit here. And it helps us write pretty quickly, and pretty, I'm really happy with like a lot of the newer stuff we're writing. I think we're really, coming into our own as far as song structure, composure, lyrics, concept. Everything's starting to come together. So it's really exciting.
And I know that when we had talked through email, you had mentioned how you were kind of trying to get the scene in New England to be, I don't know, is better the word, but just to really kind of kick some life into it and do your part to do it. So I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit. What are some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the songs on the album, on What It Means to Feel, that we released last year, they're very personal. The lyrics and the concept. I think a lot of people, dealing with all the isolation and stuff from the previous few years, really, we didn't have much choice but to sort of look inside and kind of, go get inside ourselves. We couldn't really talk to anybody. We couldn't see anybody else. So we had a lot of time to kind of sit in our own headspace. And basically, when Matt reached out and we decided to kind of start this project up again, I wanted to use it as, a message. What do I want to tell people? Not that we're old by any means, older than we were. We're still, decently young. But, music industry, sometimes you can have a shelf life. And so I kind of want to make the most of what this is, and so a lot of songs are about, just trying to promote unity and understanding that, you know, you could be having a terrible day and somebody else can be having a worse day, or you can be having a great day and these other people are struggling to get through life. You know, so that's kind of where I start from when I write. I'm very, very happy to see the local scene is starting to pop off again. It's starting to look like back in those Warped Tour, you know, late 2000s, early aughts, when we had a lot of bands coming through the area and the scene was really strong. And it's starting to creep back there. What I'm trying to get is more people to realize that, you know, mutual promotion and support of each other benefits everyone. It benefits the scene. It encourages bands to keep doing what they're doing. It gives more creative outlet. There's more belief and, you know, foundation for bands to grow and create and excel out of. There's going to be more venues that are going to pop up. There's going to be more people that are trying to promote and book shows. You know, I've met a lot of people that are just, you know, they love music and hey, I've got a basement, come over, you know, play a show. You know, I'll shout out 5 9 over in Litchfield. It's Rob Kulangoski put together a basement venue, like in his house, built a stage, put in a sound system, and he's been having shows out of there for the last couple of years. There's a handful of other people that I've met that are doing booking around the area. So there's definitely a lot of investment. There's a long way to go for people to realize, like, you know, you really got to do it. Like, you can't just show up to shows and be about you. It's got to be about, you know, how can we make this the best show for the audience? You know, and sometimes you got to compromise, but we're trying to promote, you know, definitely better support for all the bands out here. We're just all trying to play music and have fun, man.
Yeah, I think what's cool too is, you know, obviously COVID killed the local music scene. No one could play shows out, but in a lot of ways, I mean, I don't think we would be where we are right now without COVID, having all that time to write, to be inside our own thoughts, and you know, that's really when I started just writing a ton of music over the last few years, compiling it together. And then I think because of that, there's now a huge, you know, build pent up demand for live shows again. You know, people are you know, kind of hungering to you know, mosh together again, and you know, just experience things together. So I'm really happy where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'm actually driving about 1,000 miles to go see a concert that three of the bands that I've featured on my show are all actually playing together, and it's
Oh,
rare
nice.
that that happens. And one of them just happens to be one of my favorites. So I'm like, you know what? This isn't going to happen again. I'm going to make the trip and I'm going to go. So yeah, I'd say people are definitely itching to get out and see some music.
That's awesome.
Speaking of that, are you guys ready to talk about what's beyond April 5th yet, or is that still up in the air?
Oh, we can give a little taste, right, Matt?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, obviously we're hoping to play more and more shows. You know, once we've been practicing, we're practicing today, actually, before this call and after this call, we're gonna be practicing. So we're getting our set ready. We got a solid set of like 8 songs ready at the moment, and we're only gonna add to it. So we're definitely looking to add more shows to this area. We're thinking about potentially doing like a little weekend tour sometime soon, maybe in June, July time frame. Kind of go up like Maine, New Hampshire, Mass, that kind of area. If we can do something bigger, you know, if the reception is great to that, then hopefully we can potentially, you know, build off that, maybe even go down the East Coast. I would love to do that. But yeah, I think where the plan right now is continue writing. I'm writing more songs again right now. Hopefully release, you know, an EP or something like that. You know, it's tough because nowadays I think most people are just expecting singles. You know, a lot of people don't listen like full albums all the way through.
Yeah.
Again, we kind of did everything backwards. We came out with an album first and then just said, hey, here's a whole, you know, collection of music for you to listen to. So I think from now on we'll probably be doing, you know, singles, maybe a EP here and there, you know, until we, you know, get a chance to sit down and write another full-length album.
Yeah, that people do seem to be going that route with the singles, but I think it's a good idea to come out with an album. especially like I said, since it was such a long time in between music, for you to remind people, hey, we're around, and put a whole album out and then start doing some singles. I think that works. I think that does. Um, what were you doing during that time? Is there anything else that you're into besides music? Is basically what I'm asking. Shows, movies, books, games, anything like that. What do y'all do in your free time besides music, which I know isn't very much?
I guess I'll start off. I'll try to make it brief. I have a complex where I want to make myself as busy as possible all the time. So, in addition to being in a band, working a full-time job, I have two corgis and two cats, a beautiful wife that I love to spend time with. I have a part-time job as a booking and promotions agent for Don't Blink Music Group out of New England. So that keeps me very busy working on booking out a tour for a band currently. That'll be out on the West Coast and then moving up to like the Midwest. Um, if I have any free time, catching up on chores, it's actually pretty therapeutic sometimes. And then if that's all done, then I like to read. I like to work out, exercise, run. Um, do things to challenge myself. I'll watch media. I'll try to watch trends on the internet, try to listen to some, sort of band podcasts and stuff, see what other people are doing, what's coming up in the scene. So that's kind of me.
Yeah, for me personally, so we released that Stages EP back in what 2013, 2014 time frame. Since then I've had three kids. I got a wife, I got cats, I got a dog. Yeah, so I've just basically been a family man for the last 10 years or so. So I love it. Got a full-time job. I work with this guy right here, so um, yeah, and then same thing with Sam. Like I was trying to like learn and grow, and I have been writing music the whole time too as well. Just haven't had a chance to perform it. Just been busy, being a dad and everything. But yeah, how about you?
Yeah, man. So, I'd say I've been spending far too much time lately with Magic the Gathering. That's like been a big one in the past couple months. But aside from that, man, like I don't have kids. I have two cats that are my kids as far as I'm concerned. I have a girlfriend that I absolutely love spending time with, and we do a lot of that. Big on video games. I can play RuneScape for hours and hours on end because I'm still stuck in 2007. What can I say? Yeah, man, just whatever occupies the mind. Hour-long YouTube documentaries on things I didn't know I cared about. Just brain rot.
We've all done that for sure.
All right. Thank you guys for putting up with me. Yeah, pretty much just music stuff generally. I bang nails during the day. I'm in this band. I'm in another band that's not named Matt, and Matt and Sam know him. Our friend Rob. So I do that. I like to do open mic nights here in Manchester. Like 4 or 5 days a week. I don't always like get to all of them, but like I like doing that. That's real cool. It's a lot of good music being played in Manchester, a lot of open mic nights. I didn't realize that when I moved over here, but it's been really cool the last couple of years, and you meet people who play music, and but yeah, keep it brief. Like I'm in this band, another band, and I do that. So
Football fan?
yeah,
Oh yeah, we all are.
All of you Patriots fans?
No, no,
No.
no.
He's a Packers
Go
fan.
back, go.
Ah.
No.
Well, that ended the interview. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah.
No,
Matt
no,
made
it's all
it.
right. I was part of the dynasty before y'all, so I understand.
Dude, right? Glory days, man. I was like 6 years old when that happened. Matt actually, so like when I first joined the band, it was like a few weeks before football season. Then randomly I saw on the House Lights thing on like Instagram, he like made like a hype video of the Patriots, and I was like, yo, that's so random. I was like, I texted him. I was like, oh, that's pretty sick, but I don't know. It didn't really like work for them though. I don't know, like, this year, but
I gotta say, I gotta say, I saw that post not too long ago, and Matt recently just gave me, a finger into the House Lights Instagram page. The temptation that delete button gives me, the It's just right there, ready to click. Nah.
Well, at least you're not actual rivals, fans of rivals of each other. The Packers and Patriots, the only thing y'all have is what, one Super Bowl? So
Ooh.
One Super Bowl that remind me how that went, fellas.
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. That's what y'all have is the one Super Bowl as far as rivalry goes.
Yeah.
It's not like the Cowboys and Packers where it's several games.
Oh my gosh. And Bobby, who, Bobby's no longer really in the band with us, but he did the screams on the album. He's a huge Giants fan, so he's always held those Super Bowls over our heads.
Oh yeah, yeah, I bet. Only time y'all lost in the Super Bowl was to the NFC East every time, and that's so weird. Sorry, I could talk about football all day, but I'm a Cowboys fan, so I don't. I usually ask people about sponsors. I know that y'all are kind of just starting up again, so if y'all don't have any, that's cool. I can edit this out. But do you guys have any sponsors you want to shout out?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We definitely definitely gonna be. I think we should start looking for sponsors. So it's something that's on the radar. Just I think it gives you a little extra support. And if we are looking to kind of tour at some point, there are certain benefits you can get from having sponsors, but money's tight. So anytime we can get somebody to give us a handful of drumsticks or some guitar strings here or there, I don't think we'll complain too much.
I actually do have a funny story about a sponsorship. Ironically, when we were Horns Become Halos years and years ago, like 15 years ago, I was reaching out to some places to see if they would sponsor us just on a whim, and I emailed Vitamin Water because I had seen like they would like send like packages to people. So I emailed them, and then they hit us back, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll send you some drinks for free."
I remember
one
this.
day I'm at my house, and this U-Haul backs into my driveway and just unloads like a pallet of vitamin water into my house,
wow.
and all for free. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, because we were no one knew us or anything, so I was just really surprised they were that willing to share. So we should
hit them up again. Yeah, what are we doing?
Thank you, Vitamin Water.
Yeah, let's get some custom caps or something. House Lights logo will look great right on the cap.
Bang.
All right, well, before we go, I wanted to give you a chance to talk to your fans for just a moment. I know that we addressed it a little bit earlier when we talked about why they should be listening, but just any last thoughts you might have for your fans that you might have thought of after we discussed it a minute ago, or just a parting thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, just I would say give us a chance. So, I know it's with this style of music, you don't hit everyone, especially when the second you incorporate like screaming into your music, or people get like this assumption that it's a certain style or whatever, or it has a certain message to it, that it's all like despair and like anger and stuff like that. And yeah, there's some of that too as well, but there's also really positive messages in our music. Like Sam writes some really amazing uplifting lyrics, and that's like, I would say, if there's one emotion I try to go for in a song, is although there may be like a hint of like depression, despair, or longing or something like that, by the time we hit the bridge, I try to hit a sense of optimism, or an uplifting sense where like, hey, yes, things may be bad, but you can get past that, and like things will be okay. So I think that's one of the messages we try to spread to people.
Yeah, just expanding a little bit more on what I said earlier, it's about hope. It's about togetherness. If you believe that you can be part of something and actually make change, it's going to take some work. You're going to have to put yourself out there. But that's what life is about. It's about taking chances and being willing to sort of, get outside your comfort zone to check on other people and to try to make things better. It's what I try to kind of push through the music, because it's things that I need to remind myself of. If I was left to my own devices, I maybe would just be off in the woods somewhere trying to build a cabin and failing horribly. We all need human connection. It's very, very important. And I want my music to be something that people can come together around and really feel like they belong. So, that being said, come feel like you guys belong April 5th in Dover, New Hampshire at Auspicious Brew. At our first show, we're debuting Snake Eyes. Check out the single on April 5th. It's going to be awesome. A lot of our music's going to sound like that going forward. So just check it out. Give us a chance.
To my viewers and listeners, check the description below. You'll find their link to their Spotify, their YouTube, and anything else I can find if they have a link tree. When you go to their Spotify, click on follow. That way you can keep up, get the new release when it comes out, see it on your release radar. Go see them live if you're able to, and they're going to start branching out and getting better and better as they go. House Lights, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.